In terms of legacy, championship rings probably matter more in basketball than in any other professional sport. It is still possible to have a Hall of Fame career without winning the NBA title, but retiring without a ring leaves a stain on the resume. When players' careers are ranked, the first criteria on which their spot is based on is the number of rings they have won. There are many basketball greats who have achieved every individual goal that any basketball player ever has, but some of them are remembered as legends who never went all the way. So we tried to put up a list of 10 players who left a mark on the history of the league but never won the ultimate prize. Some of them were close to winning it and some of them were not. Some of them stayed loyal to their teams until the last day, while others tried to chase the ring elsewhere. Before we go on to see the list, just for the record, even though Elgin Baylor played in only 9 games for the Los Angeles Lakers in 1971-72 and didn't make a single appearance in the playoffs, he was given a ring. Therefore, he will not be listed since he technically has one. Also, we didn't list Chris Paul since he is still active and his Phoenix Suns are contenders and he actually may win a ring before he retires. So, fasten your seatbelts, we are taking off. Number 10, Dominique Wilkins. One of the NBA's true marquee players for more than a decade, Dominique Wilkins earned the nickname Human Highlight Film with spectacular individual plays. He was a member of the NBA All-Rookie Team in 1983, 7 times was selected on all NBA teams including the All-NBA First Team selection in 1986, and made 9 consecutive All-Star selections. He will mostly be remembered as a 2-time NBA Slam Dunk champion, winning that crown even against Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, and Clyde Drexler in 1985. He spent 12 seasons with the Atlanta Hawks, but they never stood a chance against the great Boston Celtics to come even close to the NBA Finals during the 1980s. Wilkins is also the best NBA player who went to play in Europe for an amount of money that was previously unseen on the continent. With the Greek team Panathinaikos, Wilkins won the EuroLeague in 1996 and was named the MVP of the Final Four tournament. He returned to the NBA the following season, playing for the San Antonio Spurs, had another Euro trip to Bologna, and retired with the Orlando Magic in 1999. Number 9, Bernard King. The 6'7" forward was one of the unstoppable scorers during the NBA revitalization in the 1980s. Despite the horrific knee injuries that threatened to derail his career on more than one occasion, King still managed to produce on the offensive end for a number of teams, including his hometown New York Knicks. He also played for the Nets, Jazz, Warriors, and Bullets. He led the league in scoring in the 1984-85 season and became the first player of his era to record back-to-back 50-point games. The same year, he suffered a severe injury, which included a torn ACL, torn knee cartilage, and broken leg bone. The injury required major reconstruction, causing King to miss the following season. To that point, no NBA player had returned to full shape after such an injury, but King did that. Unfortunately, the Knicks released him in 1987. He continued his career with the Washington Bullets the following season, but the injuries returned. King retired with the New Jersey Nets in 1992. 8. George Gervin. Only Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan have won more league scoring titles than Gervin's 4, and he was the first guard ever to win 3 of those in a row. The Iceman spent 11 seasons with the San Antonio Spurs and is second on the team's all-time scoring list behind Tim Duncan. During his career, Gervin recorded a remarkable streak of scoring in double figures in 407 consecutive games. He made 9 All-Star appearances, winning the MVP trophy in 1980. Gervin was named in the All-NBA First Team in 5 consecutive seasons from 1978 to 1982. After more than a decade with the Spurs, he spent a season with the Chicago Bulls and then overseas to play in Italy and Spain, where he retired in 1990. 7. Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller spent his entire 18-seasons-long career with the Indiana Pacers and took them to the 2000 NBA Finals, where they lost to the Los Angeles Lakers. He will be remembered as one of the best and most clutch shooters of all time. Scared of no one and ready to play under pressure, Miller has hit many clutch shots that will never be forgotten. His 8 points in 9 seconds to kill the Knicks in Madison Square Garden in the '95 playoffs is one of the best sequences in league history. Unfortunately for Miller, he played in the Michael Jordan era, and whatever he was doing, there was a guy who could do it better. With 2,560 made three-pointers, he ended his career as the NBA's greatest long-range shooter. After his retirement, only Ray Allen and Steph Curry surpassed him on that list. Miller is one of only 11 NBA players in the 50-40-90 club. 6. Pistol Pete Maravich. Pistol Pete Maravich was a spectacular player whose ball handling and passing skills were something that was never seen before. He had a legendary college career at Louisiana State University, where he averaged 44 points per game and is the all-time leading NCAA Division I scorer with 3,667 points scored. Maravich played 10 great seasons in the NBA, mostly with the Atlanta Hawks in New Orleans and Utah Jazz, earning 5 All-Star selections and 1 scoring title. His only deep playoff run was in his last season with the Boston Celtics, where he made it to the conference finals. He tragically died of a heart attack while playing in a pickup game in California in 1988. He was only 40 years old. 5. Allen Iverson. Despite the fact that he was one of the smallest players in the league with barely 6 feet, 165 pounds body frame, Iverson made a big splash right after entering the league. He led the Sixers with 23.5 points per game and won the Rookie of the Year award in 1997. His quickness and his signature crossover dribble often left even the best defenders helpless, including his idol, Michael Jordan. With his baggy clothing, flashy jewelry, and braided hair, he influenced the league culture. Despite his controversy, he was all heart as he led his Sixers to the one NBA Finals, where they lost to the Los Angeles Lakers in 2001. He finished his career with 4 scoring titles and 1 MVP award. Besides playing for the Sixers, where he's a real legend, the answer spent time with the Nuggets, Pistons, Grizzlies, and the Turkish team Besiktas. 4. Steve Nash. The Canadian-born player was one of the best point guards in league history. He had a tough road to the NBA elite as he didn't receive any college scholarships, being an undersized guard coming from Canada. After a brilliant career at Santa Clara, he found his way to the league within the 1996 NBA draft. His passing skills and playmaking abilities put him right there on the top with the all-time greats. Despite playing in the time when the bigs still dominated the league, the 6'3" guard won back-to-back MVP awards in 2005 and 2006. He led the Phoenix Suns to epic playoff battles against the Lakers and the Spurs, but never managed to get them to the finals. His toughness and playing through visible injuries are remembered as some of the most heroic performances in NBA history. Nash would have probably won a ring if the Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban recognized his greatness earlier in his career and offered him a contract like he proved he deserves. His pairing with forwards Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas and Amari Stoudemire in Phoenix was an absolute pleasure to watch. 3. Charles Barkley. Listed as 6'6", but actually more closely to 6'4", Sir Charles played the power forward position as well as anyone else in the history of the league. His toughness and versatility made him a unique player at the time, and despite being undersized for his position, he deserved the respect of everybody. Barkley will be remembered as one of the most entertaining players of his era. He started his career with the Sixers, where he showed his force and willingness to go against the best and go hard. After his move to the Phoenix Suns, he won the MVP award and took the team to the finals, where they lost to the Chicago Bulls in 1993. Shortly after, he moved to Houston in the hope to win a championship, but a devastating injury in Philadelphia put an end to his tremendous career. After retiring from basketball, Barkley is regular on the NBA screens, always saying his honest opinion, which makes him one of the best in the business. Number 2. Patrick Ewing. By many, the best player in New York Knicks history, Patrick Ewing spent 16 seasons in the Big Apple. Selected as the first overall pick in the 1985 NBA draft, he was the new hope of the Knicks, and he almost took them to the throne. The Knicks teams from the early 1990s seemed to have everything to finally win the championship, but Michael Jordan and the Bulls always found a way to get over them. When Jordan decided to retire and play some baseball, Ewing and the Knicks finally made it to the NBA Finals in 1994, but they lost to the Houston Rockets in 7 games, despite having a 3-2 lead. Ewing was also a part of the 1999 team who again won the East, but couldn't help his teammates in the finals against the Spurs due to an injury. He finished his career as a Knicks leader in almost every statistical category. After playing 16 years for the Knicks, he spent a couple of seasons between the Seattle Supersonics and the Orlando Magic before retiring in 2002. Currently, he is the head coach of the Georgetown Hoyas, where he spent his college career. Number 1. Karl Malone and John Stockton. At number 1, we actually have 2 players because it is very tough to put them apart. Stockton to Malone is one of the most repeated phrases basketball fans have heard. These two guys defined the pick-and-roll game and were a real example of what the word tandem means. That's why the Utah Jazz legends who spent 17 seasons together are listed together on our list. They are arguably the best duo in league history and the creators of modern pick-and-roll basketball. They managed to take the Jazz to back-to-back finals in 1997 and 1998, but both times failed against MJ and the Bulls. In the late stage of his career, Malone signed with the Lakers in hope of winning the championship, but that didn't happen as the Detroit Pistons topped the Lakers in 2004. Malone finished his career as the second all-time scorer, while Stockton is the player who recorded the most assists and steals in league history.